Today on Anything Interesting.
Oh, here you go.
Oh,
Down the
yeah,
hill.
I hear something.
We're on board the John A.B. Dillard Jr., the proud workhorse of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, San Francisco District.
I mean, they're going to be right on top of us, too.
They're going to be closer than you wanted to be.
This has some serious perks to this job,
Yeah.
I will say.
I mean, this is my office, and this is my view, you know? Check it out. Your office don't have a view like this, does it?
Not even close.
This brave 80-foot vessel and her sister ship, nicknamed the Raccoon, are responsible for keeping the waters of the San Francisco Bay from Bakersfield to Oregon clean and clear. The San Francisco Bay receives $66 billion of shipping every year, and the Army Corps of Engineers is tasked with keeping those shipping lanes functioning. While the rest of the city works away in the tech giants and unrivaled industry that makes San Francisco famous, this pair of vessels roams the bay with a busy array of missions. Today is no different. The John Dillard Jr. has a full schedule and there's no time to waste. The Dillard's usual crew of 5 is joined by active duty Sergeant Chavez and a pair of stowaways from the Anything Interesting crew. While Sergeant Chavez can assist with a variety of skilled activities, the Anything Interesting crew has been instructed to keep safe and keep out of the way. The Dillard starts the morning inspecting the boundaries of the bay, searching for debris, items that may impede shipping lanes, or anything unusual that may need attention from the Corps of Engineers or the Coast Guard. The next destination for the Dillard Jr. is one of the most iconic and beloved man-made structures in the world, the Golden Gate Bridge. Not everyone gets a chance to visit the hidden gem nestled underneath this monumental bridge. The Army Corps of Engineers began work on Fort Point in 1853. It was the only fort of its kind built on the West Coast and was first armed with 55 cannons by Albert Sidney Johnston, who later resigned his commission to be a general in the Confederate Army when the Civil War started. During the construction of the Golden Gate Bridge, designers contemplated destroying the fort, but it was saved by the bridge's chief engineer, Joseph Strauss, who wanted to preserve the fort for its architecture and once being one of the most modern forts on the American continent. After checking the Golden Gate Bridge, Captain Mixon starts to head back into the bay in order to meet up with the Coast Guard for a practice session. Knowing we have a bit of time, he gives our crew a little tour of the bay, including Pier 39, a pass by Alcatraz, and finally, stopping the Dillard near Angel Island. While waiting for the Coast Guard to appear, we had a little downtime to chat with the captain.
I think that the Army Corps of Engineers has just inherited a bunch of stuff over the years. Like, for instance, this job, collecting debris, Douglas MacArthur was landing a plane over there in the South Bay.
And it crashed.
And it crashed, killed the pilot.
Yeah.
That's right. And, you know, I can only imagine him standing there wet.
Yeah.
And a bunch of generals in the room.
Yeah.
And going, okay, who's going to clean this mess up?
Right?
And maybe the Army Corps guy wasn't there that day and got elected. You know, maybe he got, volunteered to do that. But, literally they said, okay, well, Army Corps, get her done. And, that's why there's 2 debris boats.
Sure.
That's why I'm here, is because that guy hit something in the South Bay, and they said, you got to keep this clear. The Army Corps is an interesting organization. I worked with the Coast Guard for a long time.
Yeah.
So I understood that. But this is big. Army Corps is big. And they deal with all the dredging that goes on in this bay.
Yeah.
I mean, and all the wetlands.
Wow.
And a lot of the levees. And the bridges. And, the water that land along the water. Just, they're into everything. And they're just so under the surface with most of the things they do. I guess because it becomes so routine to them that, oh yeah, we're working on the levee, it's a gazillion-dollar project, and there's, like when they talk about the Dillard, I mean, this is an $8 million boat, and this isn't even a drop. If you need to deal with something like a levee or, dredging, You got to be able to lay down some capital and some resources like so.
Sure.
And Big Army has the ability to do that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's a good fit for them. And the Army does a lot of stuff, and my boss's boss is in the Army. And that's what he does for a living. So it's a balance between the civilians like me who have the technical expertise with the Army who have the backing and the resources to get her done.
Sure.
And that mixing of all that together creates an environment to where you can take care of a levee and a waterway.
Okay, so your average person who never before knew that the Corps of Engineers is out here keeping the waterways clear, helping $66 billion worth of shipping continue to run in and out of San Francisco, doing all these environmental things, rebuilding the wetlands. I mean, how can your average person show their support to the Corps of Engineers?
Well, I think that their support is their use. If they get out here and use the bay, then there's a reason for us to make sure it stays safe.
Yeah.
That's use the ferry system versus getting in your car. Get involved with all the projects like that help rebuild like Angel Island or rebuild Alcatraz, or just keeping the bridges clean, because we'll keep the water clean.
Yeah.
You just stay around the water enough and bring that interest level to a height. That's the best way to support us, I believe. I think so. Get out here and use it.
Yeah.
Show you're interested in it. Get involved with the Bay model.
Yeah.
Get involved with your local communities who are doing something in the Bay, because it all helps. A group of kids walking up and down the beach cleaning it up will spark interest for maybe the Army Corps to get over there and make sure it's even cleaner and a little cleaner. A little cleaner than they're making it. So that's all good stuff. It's all pretty cheap, really.
Yeah.
It's
Everybody pitches in a little bit.
a little bit. Pick up a cigarette butt.
I like that.
You already helped out tremendously.
Suddenly, in the distance, the crew hears the rhythmic beating of a helicopter.
Up. Here you go.
Oh,
Tally
yeah,
ho.
I hear something.
The Coast Guard has arrived. Luckily for us, this mission is just a practice rescue. The Coast Guard helicopter works with the crew of the Dillard to test a variety of rescue missions they use to save lives and rescue ships in distress. The Coast Guard practices a variety of missions while working with a skilled diver to recover someone from the water. They also test dropping and recovering a large box weighing over 100 pounds. If a nearby ship were sinking, the pump inside could keep the ship above water until the passengers and crew were rescued. Even a practice mission can be dangerous, and the Dillard is here to assist and back up the Coast Guard if something should go wrong. As the helicopter hovers a few yards over the top of the Dillard, the propellers kick up a thick spray and the noise is deafening. This is one of the most tense moments of the mission. The slightest error could result in threat to the Coast Guard helicopter and the Dillard beneath. If both crews don't do their jobs perfectly, this rescue mission could turn real. Without a hitch, both crews perform flawlessly, and this practice mission has been a success. As the sound of chopper blades recedes into the distance, the Dillard Jr. heads to her last task of the day, what should be a routine pickup of a piece of debris. Luckily for the crew of the Dillard, a good Samaritan has lashed this piece of debris to the nearby pier. At first glance, this seems to be an easy piece that can be lifted by the Dillard's powerful gripping arm. Captain Mixon carefully navigates the vessel near the eroding pier, and the crew springs into action. With some room to maneuver, the crew gets a hold of the debris and discovers the recovery of this piece isn't quite as simple as it looks. It looks like there may be more to this mission than Captain Mixon thought. If this were a smaller piece, the Dillard's crew would lift it from the water and make easy work with a few chainsaws. But today, even the mighty crane on the Dillard's deck isn't powerful enough to lift this piece. Sometimes, large debris like this require the crew to go to work dismantling the piece before it can be maneuvered on board, but Captain Mixon has a different idea. The crew is instructed to tie this huge piece of debris to the ship and prepare to tow it back to the engineer's harbor. After checking and double checking the rigging, Captain Mixon hits the throttle and we cruise out to deeper water. Leaving the Richmond docks behind, the detached pier isn't willing to cooperate and it drags behind the Dillard like a parachute, sapping her speed and power. The pier is so waterlogged and heavy, the ropes strain against their tethers, and the tension is so great, they are hot to the touch. If Captain Mixon and his crew isn't careful, this could prove to be a very dangerous mission. Suddenly and unexpectedly, the pier flips and drags behind the Dillard like an anchor. The pier scrapes the bottom of the channel, and with the engines fighting the current, the crew knows they need to be ready to cut the ropes if the pier catches anything on the water's floor. When the current catches the pier, the engines of the Dillard push against the strain, and we can barely reach 3 knots towards the end of our mission. The journey that took us only 30 minutes before now becomes a tense couple of hours as we tow a piece of debris that weighs nearly as much as the Dillard herself. Finally, the Corps of Engineers harbor is in sight, and as the Dillard Jr. enters the delta, the crew breathes a sigh of relief. No longer fighting the current, the pier shifts, flips, and tows easily the last few hundred yards towards its final destination. As the sun dips in the sky, the day is far from over for the Dillard and her crew. The afternoon brings a change in the tide, which is usually no match for the ship's powerful twin engines. With this giant pier back safely at the Army Corps of Engineers headquarters, the crew of the Dillard isn't finished for the day as they ready the ship for their next mission tomorrow.
Folks, what an awesome day aboard the John Dillard Jr. We went out all over the bay, saw Alcatraz, saw Angel Island, picked up some debris, brought it back, practiced a couple rescue missions, working with the U.S. Coast Guard. An amazing day, a fantastic crew, and they worked so hard. We were tired just filming it. If you guys get a chance, come out here, check out the bay model, and like Captain Mixon said, use the bay. Get out here, get on a kayak, get in the water, go see it, and that way the Corps of Engineers will have plenty to do, and they'll be here working, clearing debris, and making the bay fun and ready for all you to enjoy. This is Grason from Anything Interesting. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next week.
Hey Taylor, what's something you've learned while filming?
We can always film more no matter how much we think we did. How about you?
I learned how time-consuming and expensive it is to film one of these episodes.
This isn't our full-time job and we are far from rich.
I work in admin.
I drive for Lyft.
And if you like our videos and you want us to keep checking out neat locations, inspiring people, and exciting events, visit us on Patreon and toss us a few bucks each month.
It'll help us do more videos, go to cooler places, and improve our equipment.
That means we don't have to build any more equipment out of PVC pipe.
Just $1 each month will go a long, long way. We're poor.
So we can go where you want us to.
Like the Roswell Alien Museum?
Sure.
Or how about the only diamond mine in North America?
Well, we've actually been there before. We didn't have a show at the time.
Or even the Panama Canal.
That's a bit of a longer drive, but yeah, we can go there.
And we've always talked about going to South Korea.
Okay, bring it back to reality.
All right, what about